Anne Hathaway is interesting because she's clearly a movie star, but not always in the way people talk about movie stars. In The Devil Wears Prada, she's the audience surrogate surrounded by scene stealers. In Les Misérables, she's barely in the movie and wins the Oscar. So what are we actually rewarding when we say she's great? Find out about that and more right after the intro music. You're listening to Second Cut. This is the weekly podcast where we talk about topics in film theory, criticism, and history because we enjoy it. And who am I? Who am I? I'm Jacob, and I'm the one who is one stomach flew away from hitting my goal weight.
I'm Kieran, and I'm the one who will not forget Russell Crowe's name.
Good.
That's the only other bit I know about that movie is because when it came out, Yu-Gi-Oh! Bridge did a thing, and it was just Tristan going, "Do not forget my name," and that's it. And I was really annoyed how early into the movie that came in. I was like, I was waiting for that. So yeah,
I need to see the comedy version where he goes, "God, what was that guy's name again?" Oh, but we're not talking about. Yeah, we're not talking about Russell Crowe. Maybe another time. We're talking about Anne Hathaway. And Kieran, why is that? Does she have a movie coming out beyond this weekend, Mother Mary?
No, she might have one. I mean, she's going to be in Odyssey, but everybody's in Odyssey. I mean, like, my left sock is in Odyssey somewhere. Like,
sure.
You know, it's just... I mean, remember the spate we had last year where it was every other week somebody else was announced in being in the Odyssey? Like, it was just one of those. And then she's got, like, another 250. I swear she's in more movies this year than Takashi Miike has made in the past 30. It's insanity. So she's in Mother Mary, then she's in Devil Wears Prada 2, which is one of the other reasons why we're doing this. She's in The Odyssey, she's in The End of Oak Street, and then she's in Verity as well. She's got another movie is in post-production called Alone at Dawn. This is the Ron Howard movie with Adam Driver in it as well. That's TBA, so you never know, that could come out this year. Who's got it could be first week of next year. Like, nobody knows at this point.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, she's also been in a lot of movies. We're only talking about two of them today, but Kieran, I remember the first time I encountered her was The Princess Diaries, which is, you know, like a teen comedy film about an ugly duckling girl. You know, she's got glasses on and her hair is poofy. Then she learns how to straighten it and put on makeup and become a princess. And suddenly she's Anne Hathaway. Yeah.
I mean, I'm glad
do you remember the first of her movies you watched?
I'm looking through the stuff. It was probably Dark Knight Rises. I
forgot she was in that.
Strangely enough, Anne Hathaway is just somebody that kind of... I haven't seen a lot of her movies. You know, you know when it's just somebody's filmography and you just go through and somehow you've missed them in the scattergun of films. I mean, I'm obviously kind of somebody that has very particular areas of interest in film and kind of academia and that kind of thing. And then a lot of other things just pass me by, which is why it's nice for me to do this kind of thing, because I then actually do go back and hit some of the people that I've missed. It's like, give me Vincent Price movies, I've seen 60-70% of his filmography. Anne Hathaway, I've seen maybe 2%. You know, it's just how the ball rolls with this. So I've obviously seen Interstellar, I've seen Dark Knight Rises. Like, I
didn't notice she had been in two Nolan movies before The Odyssey. I should have remembered that.
Yeah. I mean, it's like Brokeback Mountain. I've got it on DVD. I'm fairly sure I've seen it at some point. I can't remember if I have. I can't remember being in it. I mean, she's not one of these... There are people where, like, you go through their filmography and you go, they're in that? Who are they in that? Who are they in that? I've seen that. Anne Hathaway just somebody that's just passed me by, unfortunately. Although watching Devil Wears Prada, I am thinking that she's one of the main kind of big Hollywood actors at the moment that can make her eyes larger than anybody else in the business. Like, just watching the one scene of her tearing up with Meryl Streep going, oh my god, her eyes are massive. Like, that is incredible. That is a skill.
In Brokeback Mountain, she's Jake Gyllenhaal's girl person.
Okay.
Yeah. And then
he knows how
obviously
to quit.
Yeah, we'll discuss Devil Wears Prada, but she was huge in that. Get Smart, I remember her in that. I never saw Rachel's Getting Married. It's one we considered. Bride Wars, it's like a rom-com. She's a little bit of a like McConaughey until she gets really big. Well, even then she continues to like Valentine's Day and stuff like that. But they were both in Serenity, which is an amazingly terrible movie.
I was going to say, I think she's almost a bit like... I haven't even seen enough of her filmography to say it. Somebody like Sandra Bullock, who is in quite a lot of rom-coms, and it's kind of that's her area she's known for, but she can diversify out.
Yeah, she's a popular movie actress for American films.
Yeah. This is when I start introducing all films that we do by going, this is an American film from the year this,
Well, she's also an actress, I think, that would be considered mostly in, quote, movies for women, right? She's, like stuff like Brides Wars, Devil Wears Prada.
Yeah. I mean, we had...
The Hustle, Ocean's 8.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Like, before this came on, like, it was about sort of... We're recording this... we started recording around 8, give or take. And about sort of 6:15, I went, let me just see if I can squeeze one really short Anne Hathaway movie in. And knowing nothing about it, when The Hustle's about 90 minutes, I've got a chance. Sod it, let's go through it. And I regret that decision immensely, because it was an absolute painful watch. I mean, I get about 2 seconds into it and go, oh my god, Rebel Wilson's in this. I'm not a Rebel Wilson fan. I don't connect with her style of comedy just at all. And I'm like, this is going to be painful. And it was incredibly painful. Hilariously enough, linking back to our Razzies episode, obviously that movie got nominated for 2 Razzie Awards. Hilariously enough, both Rebel Wilson and Anne Hathaway.
And Anne Hathaway also got nominated double for The Hustle and Serenity that time.
Is Serenity not good either?
No, it's hilarious, but no, it's not good. Except I do think Jason Clarke is pretty good, and McConaughey. Like, I think the performances are fine, but the movie is really stupid. But Anne Hathaway, big popular star. Rachel's Getting Married. She was nominated for that at the Academy Awards, which is why we considered it. And obviously she's a huge star now, so she kind of gets her pick of roles. She's got plenty of money. She can do what she wants.
I was going to say something like she's made like her movies have made like 6.8 billion or something along those lines. I mean, Dark Knight Rises made 1 billion, so like that's pulling a lot of her weight as it is.
She's also
obviously to do the same.
She's a producer on the Colleen Hoover book adaptation Verity. So if that is a movie that could draw people to come see it, like, she's making a ton on the back end. She's at that role of her career. You could see a few producer credits going back to like the 2010s. So
she's just one of those that just now can do what she wants. And to fair play to her, she's appearing in everything going. She's done quite a bit of. She's done some theatre work throughout the years. Not massive, but she has done like she was in Woman in White, really good novel. If anyone wants to go back on the suspense stuff like that from the 1860s, and Twelfth Night, obviously Shakespeare. So she's got some theatrical training as well. She's not just somebody that goes.
Her mom played Fantine on Broadway. I think it was Broadway. Yeah.
So she's branching out from what she can do. Again, did Dream to Dream and stuff like that. Obviously from Les Mis, guest appearances on tracks, theatre, TV. She's doing the whole lot.
Yeah, she started on TV, which I had no idea. I think with Jesse Eisenberg. It's a weird show. But
she wasn't a Disney chick, was she?
no, other than Princess Diaries, which was her like breakthrough role. So kind of, but not in the way
the second
that like
thing
Miley
she
Cyrus
did.
is. Yeah. She's not a Disney Channel like star, or she didn't really like go through the Disney system. She was just in a couple of movies. Yeah, but Kieran, I know you're in a PhD program. You're bogged down with theory and thoughts. So let me just overload your sponge a little bit more. James Naremore is a film studies guy. He focuses on acting, and I read a
something
paper
I know
from him.
nothing about.
Yes. I forget what the chapter was. It's from his book, Acting in Cinema, I'm pretty sure. But he boils down a successful performance to 5 qualities. And these are kind of the lenses through which I at least am looking at Anne Hathaway stuff. First, is it readable? So do we understand it? Does it make sense? Second, if it fits the shot style and the medium of film, because theater, you have to act bigger because you're far away. Things are really close up in film, or can be. So does it fit there? Third, it feels natural without ceasing to be shaped. So it needs to feel spontaneous, not just be like raw. What's the word? Cinema verite, amateur actor style. It needs to have something behind the real that you feel from it. Fourth, uses expressive signs intelligently rather than generically. So like the way that you express fear, being able to do it without going and clapping your face and making the
but that's
whatever,
what
the scream.
I do. No.
That's because we're bad actors, Kieran. Fifth, actually, Kieran may be good. I don't know. I've never seen him perform. Fifth, it belongs to the whole film, so it works with. And this is kind of like number 2. So honestly, I should have thought a bit more about how to distinguish it. But it needs to be analyzed within the context of the whole film, and not just be like, does it seem real? Is it convincing? Is it really big and loud? Which, that's the easy way to look at it. You could say I like it, but whether it's good or not, like these are the academic criteria.
I guess that is kind of thing where if you're going for something very small but in a kind of big old melodrama, perhaps it wouldn't fit. If you're going for something slapstick in a Shakespeare, depending on the Shakespeare, then that won't fit, even though it may be a very good bit of slapstick performance. If you're doing this in Othello, probably not going to work. So I'm guessing that is kind of is the performance tonally right for the tone of the overall piece.
Yeah. And sometimes that contrast can work, where it's a very funny movie, but there's a very serious, intense character in it, where it fits what the film needs. And you wouldn't just say, oh, well, it's supposed to be a funny movie, and this character is not funny.
Well, I mean, that was the whole point of Leslie Nielsen being cast in Airplane, wasn't it? I mean, we did our whole Leslie Nielsen episode. The reason they cast him was because he didn't do comedies. He was an incredibly serious actor. That was the entire point of it. And he then went and made his career off playing completely deadpan, the most ridiculous kind of fart jokes going in every franchise possible.
Yep.
And there will be somebody that can play the fool in a serious, So somebody that's doing Lear's fool, John Hurt, for example, is going to have to be funny and amusing and give that air of wit in the dark circumstance of Lear fumbling around in the lightning storms in kind of in Act 3 and 4. So you're going to need to have the two, and it's going to be the tone whether that works. But again, it's going to be, if it's meant to be a serious character and you're playing it in a comedic way, in a thing that's overall, it's still got to connect all that. That's what I would, from what it sounds like his argument is, having not read the argument before now. We should really share our notes ahead of time. Maybe this is the next stage in our podcast evolution and prep.
Here's the exciting thing, Kieran. I found it about 30 minutes ago, so... I found it as I was rewatching The Devil Wears Prada for the second time. which I guess, Kieran, let's go ahead and get into The Devil Wears Prada. Again, we only have 2 movies, so...
yeah. I mean, if Sam was here, we'd get our third one in, but he decided to be dull and go to a wedding, so meh.
Yeah. He has a life. It's weird. He should be...
I don't like it.
He should be insanely career-focused and to the detriment of his social life. And
I was going to say, I thought this was his life.
I thought so as well. Kieran,
Apparently not.
The Devil Wears Prada, in case you didn't know, it's about an ambitious recent graduate who takes a job as an assistant to the, I guess, head editor or whatever of the fashion magazine Runway, which is a cultural touchstone in the fictional fashion universe in which this film exists. It's in New York. Maybe you've heard of it.
Yeah.
And she discovers that it takes a certain kind of person to persist within this world, and she needs to contend with whether or not she has what it takes to, persist in that world.
Yeah, it is an entire movie which literally just questions kind of what are you going to dedicate your life to.
Yes.
And
Kieran...
kind of, if you...
Oh, go on.
Go for it.
Okay, well, this was your first time watching it, right?
It was indeed, yeah. Devil Wears Prada is just one of those that is just like, not really kind of... Again, I have my areas and other things I kind of get to if I get round to them, so sometimes it's good for me to get forced to into areas that I otherwise wouldn't.
Yeah, maybe you'd like the metalcore band named after the film better, but... The Devil Wears Prada, it was directed by David Frankel, came from a novel by Lauren Weisberger, which Kieran sadly did not get around to reading. It made $326 million, so successful.
Yeah.
Yeah, on its $35
Admittedly, when I was
million
watching
budget.
the intro credits, I was going, okay, written by a woman. You've got based on a novel. Quite a few female producers as far as I can work out. Pretty much all the main cast are women. Kind of Stanley Tucci is your kind of token main guy, and everyone else is kind of female in terms of leading roles. Are we going to have a female director for that? No. So hoping we'll be able to get another one, a female director. No.
Welcome to 2006, I guess.
I know. Like, if it was now, like, everyone would be up in arms about it, especially with the opening of this movie, like.
Kieran, this film made AFI's 2006 top 10 list of the year, the American Film Institute. It's a generally well-regarded film. It's one I've mainly watched in the background, so this was my first time really watching it and analyzing it. And I came away with different thoughts from what I initially had from just having it on in my vicinity. Maybe about once a year, which shows how much I pay attention.
What were your initial thoughts on it?
Well, I think my initial thoughts on it were it's about a woman who, she goes to work in a difficult industry. The film is titled The Devil Wears Prada, right? And it's about how Miranda is evil, sort of, not evil necessarily, but she's a morally neutral, maybe, let's say, at best, woman who, puts her career first, and Anne Hathaway sort of becomes like that over the course of the film, and then realizes she doesn't like that about herself and changes. That is what I thought the movie was about, Kieran.
I was going to say, there is an initial thing of she starts off kind of with tousled hair and the mousy girl, and what do? We advance up the corporate ladder by straightening out her hair and taking the glasses off a little bit and putting her in a different dress and putting some lipstick on. There is an element of that which unfortunately is still here in 2006, but then again it's still here in 2026, so
yeah.
not
also,
can say much.
She drops one size in clothing as well. Which
there is a point where papers get scattered everywhere. Admittedly, she doesn't scatter them, but there is a moment where papers get scattered everywhere. Thankfully, it's not in the kind of general, oh, I'm tripping over everything, ha ha ha, you're a loser, I'm going to become a supervillain. She will do that in Catwoman in 6 years' time. Sorry, as
I
Catwoman
don't
in
recall
season 2.
that, but I do recall it now. Yeah.
No, that's what happens to Michelle Pfeiffer in Batman Returns, isn't it? She's kind of scurrying around. She drops papers. Now you become a supervillain. So obviously, if she does that, then she'll eventually become Catwoman. So
it's that, or you fall.
Sense.
It's that, or you fall in love with whoever you bump into. It's one of the two.
This is true. Actually, yeah.
Yeah.
Point taken.
But in this movie, it is not about falling in love. It's kind of a comedy drama that's about the workplace. That's how Roger Ebert framed it. He said it was like a work movie, like it's about career. He compared it to books like for little girls that are like Andy Sachs, Girl Editor or whatever. And it is definitely more about like in terms of like thinking of this as a feminist film. It's not about her finding and falling in love. It's about her focusing on her career and trying to find herself as a young person, a recent college grad.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because everyone says it's like a comedy drama, and yet there's comedy in it, but it's a weird comedy. In that it's not a laugh out loud comedy because of the situation that it's presented with. There are humorous situations, but it's not a belly laugh sort of thing. It's a lot more serious than I think. I think depending on which way you take it, it's incredibly serious actually, and one of the. I mean, I enjoyed it a lot, but one of the things I wish they'd have done more of is brought out more of like the kind of cost that Meryl Streep has to go through. I mean, they show it with her, with Anne Hathaway's characters, Andy Sachs, isn't it? But I wish you see it in glimpses and moments. They focus on with Meryl Streep's character, whose name I've forgotten.
Miranda Priestly.
That's the one. I knew it was an M. I've got
Melanie. Yeah, the dragon lady is a lot cooler for sure.
Yeah. But I was really, because there are moments where you kind of stop and you go, no, that's what this film is about. It's the cost of this. It's the entire thing is essentially, is it worth it? In the same way that I wish that one of the issues I had many years ago with Babylon is that the kind of final 5-10 minutes kind of goes, all this deprivation, don't worry, it's all fine though, because we have movies.
Unfortunately, Kieran, I think that is how you and I ultimately treat it, but...
Yeah. Well, I didn't like that ending because that's what I felt like it was trying to say. And something, again, that I wish this had done a little bit more is lay it plain, but then actually kind of leave it open and go, it is up to you. This is the price it can do. It is up to you if you want to follow it. It's kind of leave it morally grey on, is it a good thing to be providing everything with her big Cerulean speech, or the cost that it does? It is a selfless thing to be doing, and kind of analysing that a bit more, just because it's a lot more serious than I was initially going into. I mean, I was expecting kind of kitschy sort of, not teen comedy drama, but that sort of rom-com-y vibe, and it's really not. And actually, that's one thing I really liked about it, is that was lacking. Although it's got that energy, there wasn't as much of that in it as I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, and, sticking on what you were discussing there, I think I don't know if it's fear. I don't know if it's the way the book was written, the way the script was written, if they changed anything. There is not enough cost really shown in this film. Yeah. And my issue with it this time is that ultimately what this is a film about. This is what my wife told me. So her interpretation of this movie, which she loves and watches a lot, is it's about a woman who becomes really good at her job and people get mad at her about it. And watching this movie, she is 100% right. That is what the movie is about. So there's the scene where Anne Hathaway, she has a boyfriend. It's Vinny Chase from Entourage. And she she's been working for Miranda. She's having to take phone calls all the time. Her life is changing. Her life is revolving around her career. And this pivotal moment with Vinny Chase, her boyfriend, his name is Nate in this movie. He says, I wouldn't care if you were pole dancing, if you did it with a little integrity. And like, what does that mean? What integrity is she lacking? The world around her, you know, it's not ideal. Like, they focus a lot on women's looks. You know, it's about like, how thin are you? How pretty are you? How nice are your clothes? And they'll make fun of you if you don't fit in. Miranda does
carbs, for
disregard
Christ's
people.
sake.
Yeah. The world around her sucks. But what has she done that is so bad at any point in the film? She's just good at her job. And that is the bad thing. And I don't know if the film was afraid to make her bad, if the book was afraid to make her bad, but she's never a bad person. And I feel like her only change over the course of the film is from someone who, you know, comes in as like kind of a snobby journalist type. That's what she wants to be, as a journalist. And she kind of looks down on fashion and fashion magazines because she wants to do real journalism. I think Stanley Tucci says, you deign for this job. Others would die for this job.
Die for it, yeah.
Yeah, and I do think that comes through really well in Anne Hathaway's performance. I wish they didn't have to vocalize it so much. But ultimately, what the film is about is, towards the end, you know, Meryl Streep is in her apartment. She's just in her bathrobe, no makeup, no anything. Yeah. And she talks about how her divorce with her husband is going to be all over the tabloids, and she's going to have to go through that. And she looks, you know, sad and not glamorous. And what the film wants us to believe is, you should not strive for career success to the extent that you cannot keep a man, is kind of what it comes across as.
Yeah, it's careers are great until like a family's on the line. I mean, strangely enough, out of all the connections, and you know me, my brain works by making connections to different films. That's just how I kind of process things. I'm thinking of a bit of all things in Train to Busan. And the reason I think that is there's the moment, I think it's when they're in kind of they're hiding out in the little bathroom before they kind of go through the zombies in the dark. And it's Dong Ma-seok, isn't it, the big guy, who kind of says to whoever's playing the lead, I can't remember, it's like, you know, dads get all the hate and none of the good thing. It's like, when your kid grows up, she'll understand the sacrifice. And it's like, you can still work, but do it in a selfless capacity. And I think that's what Meryl Streep was almost trying to bring to it, but they don't. They're like, oh, she's a bad person because she, you know, doesn't take care of the kids in this way. It's like, no, she's trying to do both, and it is overloading her. And she's having to make the thing of, do I go down a career like this and do what I am essentially put on this earth to do, in order to get as much as I can for them, or do I spend more time with them and then not have this thing shut off? And it is a incredibly conflicting choice, you know, that everybody will have in life, where there are no right and wrong answers. But the film really wants you to say, especially in the case of kind of the similar thing of business life or personal life with Anne Hathaway's character, there is an obvious right answer. And you should always make this right answer. Well, it's not like that. You know, sometimes you do have to sit there and go, okay, I either leave my job for personal life, but going out of a limb, or I spend less time with them in order to get the money to be able to have that. And it's just the world we're in. And it's those situations that I wish they'd focus on a lot more, of just the struggle to make those choices in those scenarios that you don't get. And I think, the moment where you see Meryl Streep and she's kind of in a bathrobe and her eyes are blearing, all the makeup's off, that is It's that, and I think you contrast that moment with the Cerulean speech, which is now incredibly famous. I think those two put together are what the film is actually about. And it's actually not about Anne Hathaway's character.
Yeah,
at all.
that is very true. And the Cerulean speech is good. Meryl Streep's good in this movie.
Oh, Meryl Streep is so good in this movie.
Very, like, understate. She's whispering. She's so powerful. And her whispers command every scene that she's in. But
her entrance is so good. It's so well done.
Yeah, she's incredible. The film itself, it doesn't show enough of what are the real consequences for, like, does Meryl Streep care really that she's not spending a lot of time with her twins? Like, I don't get that impression from her. The impression I get is she cares about her magazine.
Yeah. But that's why I like that one scene so much. Because right at the end she goes, I don't care what they say about me, and the line is, but it's so unfair to the girls. And it's like, you showed us a glimpse behind the curtain, and then we're just like, no more. No more.
Yeah.
We don't want any more. We've shown that we have thought about this, and now we're going to move on with the rest of it. And it's like, no.
Well,
that's the important bit.
It doesn't really critique the underlying systems either another way, where, you know, I think about certain, I don't want to say anybody specific just in case, I don't know how litigious people are, but certain companies run by famous billionaires, where they are known to have treated employees poorly and worked them to the bone. And that is what is bad. You know, not just that they want to work really hard and make stuff. It's not bad that Anne Hathaway wants to work really hard at her career, if that's what she wants to do and if she enjoys it, and she seems to get rewarded for doing that in the job. It's not like she does that and then Meryl Streep's like, but I don't really care. You're not advancing. Yeah. It seems like she could be advancing in the story.
Yeah. It's like, and she's got three friends at the start, right? The kind of she hangs around with.
Yeah.
One of them's a boyfriend.
Two friends and her boyfriend.
Two friends and a boyfriend. If two of them are gone, you know, you've changed, but one of them has gone, no, if she wants to advance in her career, go for it.
Mm-hmm.
Then you see both sides of it. And, I mean, I really, here's the thing, I really enjoyed the movie, because it's essentially because of, realistically, 4 performances, and that is Meryl Streep, Anne Hathaway, Emily Blunt, and Stanley Tucci, who kills every moment that he's in. Like,
Emily Blunt is my favorite. They are all so good.
Here's the thing: Emily Blunt doesn't get delved into enough.
No, she does. I mean, we get the glimpse.
Yeah. The glimpse, and the reason for it is because, and I noted this down here, because for once I actually took notes while watching a movie. I know, terrifying thing, where you do see a change in Anne Hathaway's character, and this is in the first sort of hour and 10 minutes. But it is just a series of roughly the same idea of. Meryl Streep's going to make you do something ridiculous. You're almost going to not do it. You're going to mess it up, but you're slightly going to redeem yourself. Enter the next 10 minutes. Enter the next 5 minutes. Enter the next 10 minutes. Enter the next 5 minutes. And then eventually, essentially, you're allowed a promotion because Emily Blunt gets a cold.
Well, and she forgets the name of a person.
Because she's got a cold.
Yeah. So let's talk a little about Anne Hathaway. She says, I don't know how extreme of an exaggeration this is, she was the 9th choice to play this role. I do know Rachel McAdams was approached multiple times to play Andy Sachs. And
sounds about right.
I don't know why she didn't, but Anne Hathaway gets the role. She's kind of a young actress on the ascent, and she, you know, she's playing kind of like almost a Cypher character in a way. Like, she's not very deep as a character, despite being the character we're with the most. And I think the writing really is the biggest flaw of this movie, in the sense that it's characterization. Like the script itself, the lines, those are good. The plot, whatever.
Yeah.
But the way characters are written, I don't love.
No. There's always something where you're like, it's almost there.
Yeah.
But it's
like they took Hemingway's iceberg theory and they were like, yeah, the iceberg's just the part on top, right? Like that's it.
It's like, what is it? The 9/10 of a character is below the surface, and they went, okay, yes, we should have some stuff below the surface, but what if it was like 2/3 instead of 9/10? You know, or like, I don't know, there is a portion of it below the surface, but it's not all of it. You know, there should be more, and even if there is more there, you don't get the sense that the film knows it's there. There is the potential.
Yeah. Even with Andy, it's dualistic. It's, I want to be a journalist, and I want to be successful in where I'm at right now. And that's kind of it. And Anne Hathaway, I think, is really good at the beginning of the film, where she's having to kind of hide her true feelings, her, like, you know, whatever word, not necessarily disdain for fashion, but she doesn't care about it. And she's having to cover that up. She's being respectful. Yeah, she's a 20-something, early 20-something who graduated from a very successful college, or big college where she was successful. And, she's having to come in and just be a good worker in a field where she's not familiar. And there's a lot of that professional acting. And then we see the mask come off when she's at home. You know, I like that Anne Hathaway. Once we get towards the middle where she's become competent, there's not really much to it. She's still kind of the same. She's very earnest and eager and trying hard, but it's lacking that darkness that is supposed to be there. That ruthlessness that Meryl Streep sees in her. I don't feel that from Anne Hathaway's performance at all. And that's where the movie kind of falls apart for me.
I mean, the whole point at the end is that to say, oh, you were ruthless because you essentially dropped Emily Blunt. And it's like, but you gave her a kind of impossible choice. You know, it wasn't that go for it.
Oh, it's your boss telling you to do your job. Like, you don't say no to your boss telling you to do your job.
Exactly. Like, it's, if there was there is a possibility that you can get promoted and therefore you've kind of worked your way and Emily Blunt is in your way, then fair. If there was a reason for her to, if there was a particular reason for her to want to go to Paris, even if it was the boyfriend is going to be there at the same time for whatever reason,
or the hot guy that's not her boyfriend that she's flirting with through the whole movie.
Yeah. If there was a reason for that kind of malevolence to be there, then maybe it would have that bite. And again, this is why I say the movie is not about Anne Hathaway. It's actually about Meryl Streep. But it's a character study of Meryl Streep through Anne Hathaway's eyes.
Well, I want to redact what I just said a little bit. Actually, she doesn't flirt with that guy. No. That guy is in a position of power, and like, I think the film is expressly clear that he is like taking advantage of her, like reading her stuff. He's being flirty with her, and she's not really receptive to it until the moment where they kiss, and she's single and that she's a little into it.
It's a 2006 movie which is generally aimed towards a female audience. There's going to be notes from the producers can you have the hot girl and the hot guy have a kiss at some point, please?
Yes. Well, the hot girl and one of the hot guys, because there's two of them.
Yeah, for whether you approve of this or not, I'm going to say the 95. If it wasn't in a script at some point, there will have been a thing when they're making it go, make sure this happens. And apparently, the script was kind of approved and the thing was bought before the book was even finished. It was sort of like
wow.
150 pages in, and the head of who made the movie, production company.
I don't know.
Warner or Universal or somebody like that.
It's 20th Century Fox.
Okay, Fox, so Disney now. But Fox, apparently they read the first 100 pages and the rest of the outline and went, that person is an amazing kind of antagonist, Miranda. We want this. So, I mean, the book would have gone its own way, but I'm guessing from that, even with that, because it wasn't a full book, there will have been a note going, make sure there is a kiss in there. And they've gone, well, let's make them take advantage of her at the same time. So yeah, just note on that.
Yeah, and going back to Naremore real quick, I think where her performance lacks, greatness, not that it's not successful, but it isn't incredible, is the expressive signs intelligently. I don't think there's anything particularly notable in the way that she emotes, expresses what or how the character is feeling for most of the movie. And it just, not that she's phoning it in or whatever, but more just the film doesn't call for anything spectacular, in my opinion.
No, I mean it's a film which has enough depth to it that you think it has more. It tricks you into thinking it has. I mean, I've said for years that people don't want intelligent movies; they want movies that make them feel intelligent. And I think this is almost that. It tricks you into thinking, "Oh, this is a very harsh critique of the fashion industry," and blah 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 blah. It gives you enough of that to bite on to make you feel like you've done something, but then there's actually nothing there underneath it. With the acting, I'm not somebody who very often looks at performances or acting. I can tell whether it's good or bad, and that's about it. And half the time, it kind of, for me, acting kind of serves a purpose. I'm far more on the narrative side of it. So in terms of acting performances, I couldn't tell you nuances of emotive and expressive or chemistry between characters. That's
for me, it's very intuitive. I just need a criteria to look at.
Yes, we all need criteria to look at whether somebody is acting well or not. I'm sure this is how they pick the Oscar winners. They go to his criteria and they go, were they emoting well? Well, surely that's subjective. Were they right? Well, surely that's subjective.
Yeah.
But again,
okay. Do you have any...
Anne Hathaway has massive eyes. She manages to make them really big and wide in this. There's a few moments where you get almost like Hitchcock moments, like looking straight down the stairs. Just saying, the staircase shot. I'm thinking of specifically
Miranda's apartment or house.
Yeah, I'm thinking of The Lodger. We don't exactly have a hand going around the rail. Hilariously enough, we'll come to in Les Mis, there is a straight up vertigo shot, straight down, like a square kind of thing. It doesn't do the zoom, but it's literally the exact same, like cinematography and everything. Yeah, I do like the movie though. I like the pacing of it. I like the performances, and the performances carry this movie. Performances and the direction to a certain extent. What the people have got to work with, they do very well. And for the most part, you'll enjoy the movie as a result of it. I mean, we've given critiques of going, oh, it lacks depth, blah, 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 but it's still an enjoyable watch. I think we're just here going, there could have been something more, Thinking back, something like Phantom Thread almost, which is very much a look at kind of the actual cost of being driven, in a fashion industry.
Daniel Day-Lewis and Meryl Streep, I mean, they're both incredible, but he gets the opportunity to be cruel in a way that she doesn't in this film.
Yeah, It's so hard to pass judgment. It's like you almost wish. I think this would have been much better I want to see an alternate version where this is almost a pure Miranda biopic, or done like that. Because I think then you will get the cost of working in that industry a lot more and see her having to make choices, occasionally talking to herself and seeing the inside thoughts, stuff along those lines, a little bit more. You still get some of it, but again, it's only some of it because for a lot of the time, until about 50 minutes in, Meryl Streep's character is just the exact same character. And it's only really at that break, the cerulean speech and the kind of breakdown moment near the end where you start to see underneath the surface. And Anne Hathaway has the one thing where she's kind of talking to whoever it is, boyfriend, friend, or whatever at the coffee shop, I think it is, and goes, if she was a man, everyone would just be saying how kind of good she is for for doing her thing because she's a woman, she gets the hate. And you go, here again, you can't throw one throwaway line in and go, look, our entire movie is deep as a result of it. You can't give one line and go, this is what the entire movie is about, just because you've put that one line in. I could do that with the worst movies under the sun and put something that sounds vaguely intelligent.
Everyone in the film reveres and respects, and they'll say, "Oh, she's mean. Oh, you work for Miranda. Let's get you a drink." But they don't talk
you look like you do some heavy alcohol,
Yeah, I don't think she gets treated in a way that. Look, I'm not saying that doesn't happen or that is not a correct assertion. Generally, I'm saying for the character Miranda, I don't think that applies. No. I think she gets pretty similar treatment, in my opinion, as a guy.
It's like, again, it's an enjoyable movie, but there's just something that are just like it. But then again, who is the audience for this movie at the same time? What year did this come out? It's not intending to be an absolutely scathing, biting, critique.
This is Star Wars for women.
Kind of, you look at the budget, you look at the style, you look at the stars that are in it, you look at the audience, and you go, they weren't setting out to have all that in. They were intending to have enough to satisfy critics and go, look, aren't we good? And then move on, because the actual thing is we're looking for the fun hijinks of trying to get the unpublished Harry Potter manuscript. That's the point of it, and it does that bit very well. We're just kind of going in slightly nerdy film, cinephilic kind of film bro stuff. Oh, if only there was an alternate universe where they really dive into the harsh social critic hierarchy, blah, blah, blah. And maybe they should
directed by Nolan or David Fincher.
Yeah, David Fincher. They would have. Oh, David Fincher, Emily Blunt, when she gets hit by the taxi, would have ended up dead, and it would have been a hit.
I forgot about the taxi part. Man,
if it was done by David Fincher, Anne Hathaway would have arranged for the taxi to hit Emily Blunt.
Not that, but maybe she spills wine on her, or just something kind of hijinksy that keeps her from going to Paris that isn't killing her. That might have made more sense for, well, you got rid of it, you took your chance and got rid of Emily. It's now confusing to me. Her character's name is Emily and her name is Emily. That's tripping me
Think
out
how
now.
awful it is with The Shining, where you've got Jack playing Jack and Danny playing Danny. It's just just there's
good movie.
It's a good movie, and I do like it. And I also wish there was a little something else just to give it. It's
a patented 6 out of 10 from Sam.
Yeah. I think I actually, after I watched it, I gave it something like 7.5, 8, something like that, because I really did enjoy it. The more I think about it, though, that it's one of those ones that it kind of has a glossy sheen that when you go out with it, you go, oh, that's great. And the more you think about it, you go, I really wish they'd have done more of that. I really wish.
Oh gosh, it's successful at what it's trying to achieve, which is all you can ask.
Yeah, it's like somebody doing. I'm working in schools, high schools. It's like somebody trying to go for a grade. if they're trying to get a B and they get a B, congratulations. This is an amazing result. This is a very good result. But we're there going, why did you not try for that A or that A star? You know, like, why did you not try for... It's like, it does what it sets out to do. We just wish it had gone for more.
Yes. But yeah, enjoyable movie. I will continue to watch it.
I was going to say, if it comes on again, I'm not going to be disappointed.
Yeah. Oh, well, let's talk for a second about the second one, because, you know, she quits at the end. I haven't watched the trailer other than I've seen the visuals, which are really bland. But I'm curious to see where it takes her character reuniting with Miranda and the gang.
Has it done what all movies are doing now, and it has absolutely no lighting at all? Because we all know that movies are getting darker.
It has a very bland streaming service quality to it, which is a bummer.
Yeah. This is when you'll find out that it originally was picked up by Apple and they made it for Apple, and now we're going to release it in cinemas for a limited time so that we can get it nominated for for makeup and costume Oscar.
That's absolutely what it looks like, but it still has Meryl Streep, Anne Hathaway, Emily Blunt, Stanley Tucci. Kenneth Branagh is now in it as Miranda's husband.
Ooh.
Yeah, but I don't know. I don't know what the plot is. I don't know how they relate to each other. You know, does Emily Blunt still work for Meryl Streep? I don't know. Is she advanced?
I can guarantee you that in it, Cerulean will come up at some point. Carbs will come up at some point.
And J.K. Rowling does not.
J.K. Rowling. It'll be you have to go and get the next. I don't know, George R.
Colleen
Martin
Hoover
Game
book.
of Thrones book. Yeah, and also at some point, the word groundbreaking will happen.
Give me an advanced copy of the AI book Shy Girl before they don't have any copies.
Get me the Les Mis director's cut when they cut out Russell Crowe singing.
Yes, speaking of books, Kieran, friend of the show, Tom Hooper, is back after many, many episodes.
Yes, after many, many, many episodes. Hang on, I do believe, is this the second Tom Hooper film we have done? The second Tom Hooper musical we've done, and Sam has been present for neither of them. Admittedly,
the Danish
first
girl,
one,
that's what I was thinking of. Sorry.
Admittedly, the first one, he wasn't part of the second cut family yet.
True.
We were still peddling it around on our own.
This is like episode 4. Kieran and I did Cats.
Yeah. It's still. I think that and Ava are still my most hated things I've ever done for this show. But yeah, and now he is back. It's just weird because the other film he's known for is The King's Speech. It was him that did King's Speech, right?
Yes, he directed it.
Hilariously enough, I haven't met Tom Hooper, but many years ago, I have met one of the producers who got out his Oscar in front of us. So, but I refuse to pick it up because there is a curse, apparently, that if you pick up somebody else's Oscar, other than like handing it out and presenting it, you will never win one yourself.
Well, then I'd touch it because I'm at no risk.
I'm like, look, I'm not saying there's a curse, but just in case, there's enough time ahead for fortunes to change.
Kieran has at least worked on and made films. He needs to keep his options open. Okay,
I'd like to point out the directors I worked with. One of them did actually win an Oscar a few years before for producing. I think it was animated short or live action short. I can't remember what Sharon got it for, but I have worked under a Oscar winning director. It wasn't on Cats, thank God.
Oh yeah, that would have been great. Les Misérables, Kieran, have you ever read the book for that?
No, because I don't have an extra 5 years.
All right, we are 2 for 2 on Kieran hasn't read this book.
I know,
shaking my head.
I know,
but
it's disgraceful.
It was by this guy who's kind of famous, Victor Hugo.
Has he done any other books that anybody might have heard of? Any films that maybe Disney have had a crack at, for example?
Is there a chance he is like the most famous figure from a entire country in the last 200 years. Maybe I'm doing disservice to Charles de Gaulle there, but
no, I mean Jules Verne as well, probably.
Yeah, but Victor Hugo, pretty big, kind of a big deal in France. Very much a the good kind of nationalism, the healthy kind.
The
he is a huge
freedom.
part of that.
Sera, kind of.
Oui.
Allez les bleus. Kind of.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, I'm going to put out the warning. Obviously, we're doing a movie about French liberty, and I'm English, so there's going to be a few jokes here and there.
Well, we're doing a film about French liberty starring Americans and Brits.
I was going to say, and some Australians. Yes, we're doing a movie directed by an Englishman, funded with American money. So that was one thing I was thinking watching this. I'm like, I don't think I've seen a single French actor in this entire movie.
I don't think there is one. But in case you're not familiar, Les Misérables is the story of, Jean Valjean, a criminal who steals a loaf of bread, goes to prison for 19 years, where he's released by Inspector Javert. He breaks his parole, becomes a free man, becomes successful over the course of 8 years. Then he meets Javert again, has to run away, be somewhere else, be successful again, runs into Javert again, and over the course of that, there is the French Revolution and innkeepers, and Anne Hathaway gives birth to young Amanda Seyfried, who grows up into Amanda Seyfried, gets adopted by Hugh Jackman's Jean Valjean. And then Jean Valjean dies. That is the story. It's a French epic.
I missed a part about the rebellion of the ramparts. Can you say that again, please?
Oh, sorry. I just kind of threw a French Revolution happens in there. But it is about an hour.
Is it the French Revolution, or is it another French Revolution?
It is the second, or maybe more.
It's the second.
It is the 1832 June Rebellion.
Okay. I think I've got it. Let me go back to page 5. What was that about Amanda Seyfried? Here's the thing. My total knowledge.
Musical.
My total knowledge of Les Mis going in. I'm not a musicals person. Again, you can kind of tell, just not my area. I think who's one of our TFM people was very much a musicals person. Was it Anis? I think Anis or Margaret.
I couldn't tell you for certain.
One of our old crew was definitely the musicals individual, and I'm really not. Every time I do go back to an old kind of Hollywood musical, I'm like, hey, I like these, and then I just never watch them. This one, they decided this isn't a musical. What this is a 2 hours and 40 minutes long music video, and the music just keeps going.
Essentially, yeah. Les Misérables, there's no talking. They sing everything.
There's a couple of bits where it's like, quick, out of the back, or go fetch my coat, stuff like that. When there
are parts, they sing those lines. They'll be like, what are you doing? I am doing this.
Now, the hilarious thing is there's that's almost derivative of Shakespeare. If you ever read any Shakespeare, there'll be occasionally he'll go to it's like, look over here, look, let us go yonder into here, or look, here comes this character. And essentially that was not actually when everyone goes, oh, all of Shakespeare is incredibly metaphorical and stuff. No, what that was is Shakespeare knew that people had to memorize an entire 3-hour play. And this is when you had 2 copies of the script. So it was easier, essentially, to hide the stage directions in the dialogue. So whenever a Shakespeare character goes, look, here comes Lady Macbeth down off the ramparts, let us see what she has to do. That's essentially Shakespeare going, Lady Macbeth, this is your cue. So it almost feels like there's leftovers from that in there. But it means nothing because this is filmed. So it's just essentially what this is. This is a filmed version of the stage musical, with almost no changes aside from the visuals and, the kind of setup has got to be exactly the same.
The stage musical is from the 80s, by the way. So compared to the book, it is a newer tradition of the story instead of just adapting the story as is.
I mean, the reason they've got it all is because it's very popular, very famous, and everyone wants to hear all of the songs, and they get shot if they kicked them out. So they've gone, you know what? Let's have all of it as songs. And this is something that Tom Hooper would carry on for Cats badly. But what it does is you'd think this is a very interesting way to do it. But it also means if you're not 100% with all of the songs, it drags. And, I mean, as somebody that's... it may be a completely different experience to somebody that lives and breathes musicals and musical theatre and really enjoys all of these songs. I am not one of them. I knew Songs of Angry Men because I did it for music GCSE in passing. I think one of our oral exams had it in. It's like the last question, you were given a song from a musical and you had to analyse it. You got like 4 times listened to it. That's the only reason I knew it. And I knew 1 or 2 other like one-liners. That's it. 2 hours and 30 odd before credits-ish. It is a long time. It is a very long time if you're not in with the music and the vibe. And, like, concerts in general. Like, you go to a music concert, that's like an hour and a half, 2 hours max before a change of act, and there's the headliners. This is... It looks pretty and it looks great, but it is long and it is fairly slow.
The thing for me is I really like Jean Valjean and Javert, and I like their story. But once you bring in the French Rebellion stuff, which obviously that's important, that is a key component of the story. If you were a French person watching this, you're like, sick. This is what I'm here for, probably. But I watch it and I go, man, I just, let's take away some of this backdrop. Let's really adapt this for non-French people and, just make it about Jean Valjean and Javert, because that is such an intriguing story. I do think those 2 performances are really compelling. And, we're talking about this because of Anne Hathaway. Kieran, what did she do in regard to this and for her 20 minutes in this movie as Fantine?
So
what did she accomplish?
She works in a factory. She gets thrown out. She gets had to go on the streets. She disappears. She gives birth, disappears until the last 3 minutes of the movie.
Well, sorry. What? Yes, there you go. Won the Oscar for it.
I was there going, I was waiting for her to reappear, and I went, that's all she's hardly. And then I go, Anthony Hopkins. But at least then, like, the thing that confuses me with this is that she's part of an ensemble cast here.
Yeah.
And she's, relatively speaking, a minor part of the ensemble cast.
Yes.
She's in it at the beginning to start the plot off and appears right at the end. It's like, oh, she's still alive. That's it.
Well, no, she's dead because Jean Valjean is dead. He's seeing all the dead people ghosts.
True.
The Force ghosts of France.
Yeah, somebody like Anthony Hopkins in Silence of the Lamb appears all the way through it and is a key part of the plot that runs through. And the performance is legendary. Anne Hathaway winning for this, in the nicest way to Anne Hathaway, I can't understand why. I genuinely can't. Who else was up that year?
I don't know. Look that up while I give you a little bit of the counter argument.
Okay, give me the counter and I'll look it up.
I do think she is barely in the movie. She is incredible in her role of Fantine. I do also believe that her character is she's central in the sense that she gives birth to Cosette, and there's some kind of symbolism around what she represents for France and what Cosette represents for France. And I'm trying to find it again, but there is an old France and a new France. She's sick, she's dying, but then we have the young, more idealistic girl that exists, and she's very saintly. She has to sell her hair. She goes through all these terrible trials, sell her teeth, and Hathaway, while she's doing that, like I'm not saying there's nobody else that could have done it, but I do think she's going through that process, and like she's doing a lot of emoting without having to sing as she's being passed around by people. She goes through, she's working as a prostitute, but she essentially, because she's not super willing, is kind of raped. And I do think the I Dreamed a Dream song, where it's just shot all in close up with her over in the third of the frame, it's a really well done song and like a really powerful moment in the story. So I get giving her an Oscar. But Kieran, who else was up for that?
So that same year you had, so she beat Jackie Weaver for Silver Linings Playbook. She beat Helen Hunt for The Sessions. And then two that was like, okay, these are the serious contenders here. She beat Sally Field for Lincoln. And she beat Amy Adams for The Master.
That's really interesting. Wow. Yeah, those two.
Yeah,
ooh, that's tough.
Like, yeah, I mean, those are heavy hitters. Like,
let me tell you,
and
yeah, and in the nicest way to Anne Hathaway. What?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, there's got to have been some powerhouse performances that year that she beat out, and
yeah,
I think it's kind of, if it was, where every year has, like, every so often you have a dud year in a certain category. If it was something like the COVID year, in the nicest way to Chloe Zhao and Nomadland, let's be honest, that movie won because a lot of the films got pushed back. And it was the best film. It was the best film of the year, but the roster was less, if that makes sense. It's a bit like you always have in kind of sports. Occasionally, you'll have like an athlete win, but one of the reasons is because half of the rest are out on injury. You know what I mean? It's one of those.
Yeah.
But with this, I'm going Lincoln and The Master, at the very least, and Silver Linings Playbook as well. It's like, at least they're in it for half the movie. And I mean, I know it is for supporting actress as well. It's not for
I don't
for
even
main
remember
actress.
who she is at Silver Linings Playbook. I just remember Jennifer Lawrence and Bradley Cooper and the Eagles.
Yeah, but it's like Amy Adams, The Master, Sally Field as Mary Todd Lincoln in Lincoln. Like, they're big, and you go,
Kieran, you know who I think is really good in this movie? Is the guy who plays the other rebellion guy with Eddie Redmayne. I think his name is Aaron. It's with TVIT. I'm saying Vate. I thought that guy was really good.
is it Vite, something like that?
Yeah, maybe. What made me think of that is he plays John Wilkes Booth in the musical Assassins off Broadway.
Okay, yeah.
He did that. So he's a big musical guy.
But I mean, like, in the nicest way, I think, like, okay, maybe it's not as out there, but like, why? I mean, Anne Hathaway's good, but I can't see why she's third billed either.
Because
like,
she's Anne Hathaway,
she's in
is
it
probably part of it.
Because she's Anne Hathaway. Yes, she's Anne Hathaway, but this is 2012. Like, she's just becoming the big star. So that's beating out, like, it's the thing. Amanda Seyfried is in it for far more of the movie than she is, and Amanda Seyfried only turns up halfway through. Helena Bonham Carter is in it for more.
She's also in the background a lot, and like, because that period is about Eddie Redmayne's Marius. In the book, that first act or whatever, it's called Fantine. So even though a lot of it's Jean Valjean, she is kind of the symbolic figure of that arc.
Yeah, like who plays the kid? Who plays Kid Cosette?
That's a good question.
Like,
I don't know.
She's in it for more than Anne Hathaway. And
She's
I
good.
know I shouldn't be judging. I know I shouldn't be judging this by how much somebody is in it, but at the same time, the studio have to decide who they are submitting.
It's Isabel Allen is that actress's name.
Yeah. So at the same time, it's like the studio went, right, we need to decide who we're submitting. Les Mis is a big hit. We're going to submit Anne Hathaway for supporting actress. And everybody else has got to be going, excuse me.
The other child actor in this, the one playing the one playing Gavroche, he's really good too.
Yeah. Not as great for a singing voice, but in general, like performance-wise, it's probably is up there, you know.
Yeah.
It's not awful.
And then, Hugh Jackman and Russell Crowe, like they're really good.
Their dynamic is the reason to watch this movie.
Yeah, it really is. And they're both...
Even if it's not his singing voice.
I do think that he's not bad. He does not have Hugh Jackman's range at all. Hugh Jackman is a much better singer than he is.
Yes.
But...
He used to be a PE teacher. It's terrifying.
Yeah. I mean, you could maybe argue it that Javert has a less dynamic emotional range, and it's reflecting that or something. The interesting thing about Javert is he is convinced people cannot change, despite over and over again, like, seeing Jean Valjean not be terrible. He's just kind of an idiot, really. He's a meathead.
The thing that annoys me, I don't know if the stage musical was also complete songs. Is it also complete songs, or is there dialogue in the stage musical?
I couldn't tell you. This is all I've seen of that.
Well, at least in this, I mean, obviously the novel wasn't. It's a door stopper. You can use it as sandbags against flooding. But the fact that it's kind of derived from the stage musical version means that most stuff is just said through the songs, and you have to act the songs out essentially, which means it is overly theatrical. Which means for a lot of it, you don't actually get a lot of any nuance coming through. Because it has to be big and overblown, and you're kind of singing the words to kind of directly to the audience in a way. So it means that all this kind of like depth that you could get with kind of any kind of subtlety is not there, It's like Russell Crowe going, "Oh no, what have I done?"
Yeah.
All my life I thought this, now it's this. I'm going to have to kill myself and throw myself into the pit.
Yeah.
There's
that's an
any
extreme
kind of,
reaction to learning that human nature is not what you thought it was. By the way, but
even this sort of, everything's kind of in big moments. You kind of can't have little creeping incremental realizations or changes or anything like that. That and the fact it's big and sprawling, you're cutting from here to there. Everything is very...
Now Kieran's singing it. Cutting from here to there.
Everything has to be big and surface level and obvious and kind of sledgehammery. And that's just really annoying because it annoys you, and then you're like, oh, it's just 2 hours and 40 of being... Of having no subtlety and going, this is exactly what is happening.
Well, that's right.
And even then, half the time you're like, what is going on? Like
that is where I think Anne Hathaway is able to put some of that across in her performance itself, even though her words are, "I am being fired. Now my daughter won't have any money. I am poor." Yeah,
there's a couple of scenes. There's one shot with where she's kind of on her back doing what she has to do, and it's just on the face. It's just a camera on her, and I think that it's almost. I think she kind of got the Oscar for that shot. This is the one where it's like, oh, finally, essentially because she's not having to sing anything, she can actually act.
Yeah.
And it's I think so much of performance and emphasis is put onto the dialogue and the way that people speak that I think probably most actors will probably say that 70-80% of acting is what you do when you're not speaking. It's the emotion through the face, through the body language and stuff like that. And unfortunately, when you're having to do big theatric singing, you're singing and dance and choreography, whatever, that takes up quite a lot and takes away quite a lot from the acting.
Well, I dream.
Even though that will be.
I Dreamed a Dream strips all that away with just the bare wall and her face, and that is it.
Yeah.
So I mean,
I like it when they go just back to them and go, let them act, let them do it in their face, let them have reaction shots. Everything that when you are deprived of the dialogue, you have to fall back on everything else to give you the information, and you have to do it visually rather than doing it like a radio play. Essentially,
I think when it comes to the big choreography and theatrics, Sacha Baron Cohen and Helena Bonham Carter are the best and most fun part of this movie.
Yeah, because they are essentially they're not playing discount Sweeney Todd, but the two novels did come out around the same time. So Les Misérables was
1862.
1862, and A String of Pearls, I want to say, was the 1850s? Of Pearls date. Sweeney Todd.
I didn't know that Sweeney Todd was based on a book called that.
1846 to 1847. It's one of the Penny Dreadfuls. They think one of the writers also is one of the guys that did Varney the Vampire. Essentially, it's Sweeney Todd's attributed to two writers, but we actually don't know who did the writing.
Okay.
So when you pick up copies now, it's anonymous. But we think it was it's kind of Thomas Prest, I think. But we also think that James Malcolm Rymer did part of it, and he was doing Barney the Vampire as well because he was getting paid by the line to write anything going. So the whole thing where they kind of took them and turning them into sausages, I'm just like, that's so Sweeney Todd, and this is very much the Penny Dreadful things at the time, and you never know, that might be directly inspired by Sweeney Todd, which I also find hilarious because obviously, what were both of them doing 5 years before Les Mis? Was it 5 years or was it 3 years? They were both in a dark musical of Sweeney Todd where Helena Bonham Carter was getting people made into pies and, Sacha Baron Cohen was getting turned into one, but ignore that fact.
Sacha Baron Cohen, you can hear his... He's the only person that tries to do a little bit of French because he's a funny guy who does voices.
Yeah, and he'd been a Frenchman in Tintin the year before.
There you go. So,
obviously, go watch our episode. Go watch or listen to our episode on kind of serious directors doing family films. No. We did discuss Hugo.
Yeah, Hugo.
Oh, sorry, yeah. Hugo. Yeah, was he in Tintin as well?
I couldn't tell you. But you hear a little bit of Borat slip through when he says "my wife."
Yeah.
But yeah, they're a lot of fun. They are very devious. The visual bits that they have are fun. And, I do get a little tired of them by the end. Victor Hugo apparently thought, everybody is the same person. They're all going to dress up in disguises, but none of them are going to matter because everybody's going to instantly recognize everyone, that is how disguises should work. People generally know what people look like. So... Yeah, that aspect of in fiction when they put on a hood and they're like, well, this is an entirely new person. This can't be the prince who is missing or something. People know what people look like.
You say this, but I do also remember the thing of Henry Cavill when I think it was BVS or it was either BVS or Man of Steel were coming out, and they were like, well, let's test the whole thing of like nobody recognized Clark Kent in his glasses as being Superman. So he stood underneath a massive billboard in Times Square with his face on it and stood there in a Superman t-shirt, and literally 2 people stopped him, and both of them were asking for directions.
Well, to be fair,
so
that is New York, and nobody cares if you're famous or if you played Superman because it's New York. They're like, yeah, cool. I just ran into.
But if you're underneath a massive billboard of your face, like you'd have thought
that assumes everybody's looking at billboards in Times Square and not like the ground to avoid eye contact with human beings. He should have tried it in Kansas and seen how it went.
Admittedly, there's also the story about Will Smith going through like the middle of like some African village out in the middle of the desert. Like, finally, I'm getting away from being noticed, and somebody looks up from like washing their clothes in the river and goes, "Yo, Fresh Prince," and he's like, "Oh, come on."
Funny. I haven't heard that one.
Anyway,
yeah. Then Eddie Redmayne. I mean, he's fine. Amanda Seyfried's fine. Like they're fine.
Eddie Redmayne's there.
Yeah, I get annoyed by the Revolution stuff a little. Just it goes on forever. It's so much Revolution stuff.
I think the issue with the Revolution stuff, and maybe this is a problem with the novel, maybe this is a problem with the stage musical. We don't know, but you know what? You're making a film version. You could do whatever the hell you want. You don't have to stick directly to it. And we are coming at this purely from a film perspective, so. Apologies for any people at the musical that go, no, but in the musical, or no, in the book. It's like, sod off, you can do what you want. And we've had perfectly good films change things for perfectly good reasons and make improvements. You should have woven the two things together a lot better. If you have the kind of Russell Crowe and Hugh Jackman story, interwoven a lot more kind of coherently with the Revolution story, I think that would work. For me, again, maybe this is because I'm just like, oh, it's still singing, shut up, move on. But I know that's the entire thing.
Jean Valjean
I like my singing, but not that much.
He's not directly involved. He helps them a little bit, and then Javert is expressly the like anti, the bad guy, the antagonist of the Revolution, but. What
you have is you have 2 separate plot lines going on that meet up occasionally.
Yeah.
I think what it needed to be is, in the 3rd act, it definitely needed to properly kind of come together completely. And even if you go, well, in the stage musical, sod it, we're not talking about stage musical, that's what this film did.
Hugo was writing in a specific place and time for a specific audience. But it you can change stuff.
And at this time, you were having these kind of things where lots of interwoven things. I mean, I was talking earlier about William Makepeace Thackeray doing Vanity Fair, which is it's an English novel, but it's set on the backdrop of the first French Revolution, where there's lots of characters and the kind of the plots interweave. Dickens was doing this all the time. You can have stories where the kind of plot lines aren't completely meshed together. And sometimes for some stories it works. I mean, Love Actually, this is the whole thing where kind of lives touch
like
and
Valentine's Day, starring Anne Hathaway.
This, I think, because it's a big triumphant thing right at the end, you need to have all that weight on it for all of the storylines to come together in one final kind of moment, and you kind of have some. It's almost there, but it's not.
Well, it's.
And this is after 2.5 hours of singing.
It's segmented, where the big battle happens, and Hugh Jackman is there. He drags Marius through the sewers to save him. Sacha Baron Cohen takes his ring. It is connected. They are all touching, but I don't know. It just because it takes so long, it drags on so long. Like you've said,
maybe it's that.
Yeah. You kind of lose track.
I think
of
the reason is probably if you'd have cut. I kind of lose track of why I need to care.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I kind of do.
Because before the Revolution, they don't set up what's going on in France, and then what's changed over this time. They try and do it with Eddie Redmayne and Aaron what's his name, and it's.
And I'm guessing that is a hangover from the novel, which is only a couple of decades after the events would have happened, so everybody would have known. That's like if we did a movie now and we set it in 2008, 2009, and we don't need to explain why nobody has any. We don't need to explain why nobody has any money and everyone's out of work. We just go, it was in 2008, 2009, and everyone goes, oh, okay, that makes sense.
Or like...
in 30 years' time...
Something like an anti-war on terror or anti-Vietnam. Like, we understand as a contemporary audience. You don't need to explain it to us that 9/11 happened.
I mean, in 150 years' time, we will have to explain why everybody was indoors in 2020 and 2021. If you're doing it in 20 years' time, you don't need to. You just don't. And for Victor Hugo, who is obviously a Frenchman, writing about his own history and his own revolutions, it's understood by everyone. Now, kind of, I quite like some of the context, because when you say French Revolution, I think 1780s, 1790s, and Napoleon takes over, and we end at Waterloo. In the nicest way to French history, I kind of lose track after that. I've not really got into it. And for an American let's be honest, an Anglophonic audience, that's probably the same thing. We're like, French Revolution, where's Marie Antoinette? And we go, no, different revolution.
You have to go into it knowing that France got their monarchy back at some point, and then they had to get rid of it again.
Yeah.
That's presumed knowledge.
Yeah. That bit kind of... we don't kind of get. And then there's some stuff, some parts of history where you just kind of... You know enough is general knowledge that we'll understand it. If we go Germany 1915, we kind of know the situation at this point. If you'd have gone, what's happening in France in 1830, I'd have gone, haven't a clue. Which means that you kind of need a little bit. And I mean, I'm not the biggest history buff in the world, but I'm also not the worst educated in history.
Yeah.
So, there's some things you kind of need.
I'm not super well educated in French history for sure. Yeah. But
and in the nicest way to the US, I think the US will be slightly less educated in French history than the British as well.
Yeah. Well, what we say,
only because the Brits are got a long-running antagonism with the French.
Yeah, we had a rebellion and inspired France to do the same. Is basically what we get taught, and then we're like, and the French didn't do anything until the Nazis took them over in World War II because we don't discuss World War One. So there you go.
You guys, you were involved, but you weren't at the same time. Yeah. It was the Germans going, oh no, our livelihood's under threat, we're going to attack everyone, and the Brits are like, I guess we better defend Belgium for a couple of years. Victor Hugo, writing for a specific place and time, Tom Hooper and his team could have changed things a little bit. They could have changed the story up. They could have tried to adapt it to modern audiences, change a few lyrics here and there, have people talk instead of sing everything. That's allowed. You said it. You could do whatever you want. Sure. It's your film. Yeah. And I mean, it's an interesting experiment. And it's not the worst experiment in the world. The visuals are very nice. We've got some nice transitions. He does play the same trick for the time transition a couple of times too many. But once or twice is nice.
Artificial leg
the fourth time
to the goat leg is a great cut.
You've got that. You've got a couple of times where it'll pan up to the sky and then come back. There's one near the beginning where it goes to the sky and then comes back down on the streets with the horses going, and that bit of motion really nice. But then there's another bit where he's got on the cross, and then it comes back down as well, and it's fairly sure it happens one or two times as well, and it's once or twice, maybe 3 or 4 times you're kind of overplaying your hand here. Even Edgar Wright has to know when to stop and that kind of stuff. But again, it looks very pretty. Performances are fair. The songs, if you can get into them, and I'm sure for people who are avid fans of the musical, are going to be right behind it the entire way. Effects are fine, the costume and the wardrobe and everything there is good. it doesn't work for me in the same way that it might work for other people. There are certain things that I need from it that I'm not getting from it.
Yeah, no, same here for me. Which I don't dislike this, but I'd rather just watch Devil Wears Prada. Like, I have more fun with it.
Yeah.
It's not all singing, you know, a lot of positives for Devil Wears Prada compared to this.
Yeah, if you'd have made it 2 hours and made at least 20 minutes of it with dialogue, maybe it would work for me.
Yeah, and Anne Hathaway again in it for 20 minutes.
Yeah, but then again, maybe I'm just incredibly uneducated, uncultured, just don't understand these things. Maybe that's the case.
Yeah, well, I doubt that. I don't think that's a problem for you, Kieran. You're very cultured. You read many books. You have a desk. So I can't do the exact.
I have a desk.
Yeah, I can't do the exact Anchorman quote because I don't think many of your books are leather bound, and I don't think your desk is rich mahogany. But
I also want nothing to do with Will Ferrell.
Yeah, so. I know. I'll make you watch him at some point. But overall, Anne Hathaway for me, very standard actress. She's not bad, but ultimately kind of. She's in the pack for me. She does not stand out as like incredible performance of our time, but not bad.
Yeah. Anne Hathaway is like, when I see her for the most part, like she's like, oh, she's a decent actress. But then I also saw her in The Hustle. And I'm like, oh god. But then again, that's like anyone. You know, on her day, she's very good.
Yep.
On her off day, she can also tank it. So you know what? She's got 5 shots this year. Shall we see if we can get her to 60%? And we'll have a consensus at the end of the year from me and Jacob in the final episode. We'll do a running tally. We'll watch all the Anne Hathaway movies if we can. And in the final episode of the year, we'll give you our score on Anne Hathaway's performances this year.
That's a good idea. I will definitely be seeing 3 of them. We'll see on the other 2.
Odyssey, Devil Wears Prada 2, and one of the others.
Mother Mary, yeah, all 3 of those.
Okay,
it's David Lowery, so
Beautiful.
I will be making it.
Fair.
Yes, apparently also the character is inspired by Taylor Swift, so yeah.
And we know you're a Swiftie, so
yeah. But I'm a Lowery too, so whatever that is.
Whatever.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's gonna be it for this episode. Come back next week, listen to whatever got. Until then, Kieran, where can people find you?
Hopefully you don't find me anywhere. If you do, I'm KJ's Mental in various places. I have actually written something recently. I put up our 75th anniversary review for The Thing from Another World, the sci-fi horror movie from 1951. You can tell where my interests lie. That is now up on the Substack, so go check that out.
Yes, and you can find Sam at SSP Thinks Film. He recently reviewed Project Hail Mary, so you can go read his thoughts on it was one of it, or it was like the biggest, but Mario has taken over Project Hail Mary at the box office.
And you know what we say with the box office?
Make kids
Never
movies.
Doubt the power of a kids movie.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep. So you know what? Make Anne Hathaway movies that are kids movies, and she'll get even more money.
She did Rio and Rio too, so
that is true. Well, that is it. You can find us at Second Cup Pod or email secondcuppod@gmail.com. Thank you for listening, and goodbye.